Welcome back, Source Nation. You're listening live to Can We Talk by Master Relationship Coach Myra McKnight.
Hello, Source Nation. This is Myra McKnight with Can We Talk. I, as always, love being into your presence, and I want to thank you again today for allowing me to be a part of your space for just a little while. We are going to have an amazing show today. I have an amazing lady that's going to be in the studio with me that's going to talk about inspiration, encouragement, how she's gotten from something that could possibly have stopped her from moving in her life. Encouragement is a big thing. And, the word I have today, I forgot it was Friday. I thought it was kind of Saturday. But the word I have for today is betrayal. And the reason I say that is because today has been a day where the clients I've had have been betrayed. And I thought about that for a minute. And, betrayal is not just a person who has cheated on you with another person. It could be in words, in thoughts, in deeds. And betrayal means so much to so many people in so different ways. Betrayal is basically disappointment. And we get disappointed when people don't do what they say they're going to do, or they do something arbitrarily different to what we expect them to do. There could be betrayal in your family, your friends, your coworkers, your boss, your church, your husband, your partner, your children. Anybody can betray us. And, and again, sometimes life does it too. Sometimes life betrays you. And, people like to have the cliche that, all is well and just keep believing and keep moving. And, yes, we do have to do that. But sometimes in this walk, betrayal comes in. And matter of fact, it does, inevitably comes in. None of us can walk this earth without being betrayed by something. Even in an illness, that is betrayal, because no one expects to get ill. We want to be healthy, be strong, be vibrant all the time. In divorce, nobody expects that betrayal. And our children not doing the things that we think they should do, that's a betrayal. And, that's kind of my word today, because I've had several clients today that the hurt of betrayal is magnificent. It's enormous, because when you are disappointed in something or somebody, it hurts. It hurts tremendously. And what can we do about that? Go around and think everybody is going to the epitome of our thoughts? No, that's not possible. Betrayal does happen, and ultimately it will happen. When I work with the ladies within my practice, I always say to them that be careful not to put your husband on a pedestal. And there might be some out there who can be put on a pedestal, and, blessings to you. But I'm always careful not to be able to put my own husband on a pedestal, because that hurts him as well as it would hurt me. And I'm saying that because people disappoint you. You can't, even our children, you can't put them on a pedestal. That's what you call expectations. And when you are expecting so much out of an individual and you in return get something different, you are disappointed by that. So how do we navigate through that? Well, we navigate through that allowing people to be humans, allowing them to be who they are, and not pushing them to be what we might want them to be, and accepting them for who you are and who they are. And that's the same thing with life. Life is every day. When we wake up every day, we're thankful to be alive. And I'm not one to talk about all the bad stuff that happens, but I like to talk about those things. How do we get over from the bad? How do we get to the good? How do we get to the exciting? How do we get to the encouraging? How do we get to the magnificent? That's the story that you want to hear. That's the story to tell. I don't have too many sad stories to tell you about me, but what I do have to tell you is that I keep moving. I keep going. I keep striving. I keep trying to make it happen. I keep seeing the good in everybody and growing myself, because there's always somebody along the way that can help me. I want to shout out to a lady that I saw today, and I want to tell you that you are magnificent, you are amazing, and you have a lot to do in this life, and don't let anybody stop you from doing it. So I'm not going to say anything else because I'm going to go to break, and before I go to break, I want to thank our amazing sponsors for allowing us to be here. And our sponsors are WGLRO.com, Scott's Cares Foundation, Urban Grandstand Digital, Meet My Type Matchmaking, Cat Photography, Hits Masters, New Covenant Praise, Worship Center, and PS Photography. On the other side, we're going to have an amazing lady that is going to come into the studio, and she's a real estate mogul, and her name is Angelia Scott-Dunbar, and she's going to give us some inspiring words of how she's made it through and what she's doing now to help a lot of people. Check you out on the other side. Be back at you.
Source Nation, stay tuned. We'll be right back. You're listening live to Can We Talk by Master Relationship Coach Myra McKnight.
Source Radio Network is just one of the many platforms that is used to fulfill dreams of our listeners and create a purpose that will impact the lives of our communities, cities, and the world. It is often said that great things will happen when a group of driven people work together to accomplish one goal. We're giving people the opportunity to have a voice, translate words that haven't been heard, and paint pictures that no one has seen. Source Radio Network is fueling your life's purpose. How can you listen? www.blogtalkradio.com/Source Radio.
Sure, humans can be a little weird at times, but take it from me, I'm a dog. And a person is about the best thing that can happen to a shelter pet. So if you want to learn how you can be that person, get down to your local pet shelter or visit theshelterpetproject.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Seen love beyond repair from a heart that wasn't there, and still I carried on. So-called friends who had my back, integrity they surely lack, reflect, and now they're gone. Now I know for certain things may have their season. I no longer question why or reason. I am not broken. I am not broken by what you've chosen to be to me. No, no, no. It took some time to figure out your insecurity, self-doubt should not be cast on me. I've had challenges of my own, so keep yourself where they belong. They're not is crying for me. Now I know time heals all bruises, lies inflicted. Won't let them hold me back. I won't be restricted. So you try to shut me out, create disbelief and doubt about who I truly am. Designed to cut deep like a knife, create misery and strife. But here I stand, strong and unbroken. I am not broken by what you've chosen to be to me. Well, I got stronger every day.
Welcome back, Source Nation. You're listening live to Can We Talk by Master Relationship Coach Myra McKnight.
Hello, welcome back, Source Nation family and friends. This is Myra McKnight with Can We Talk? And as I said to you prior to the break, I was going to have an amazing lady in the studio, and she is in the studio with me right now, who is going to encourage us and give us a wonderful, wonderful, and amazing story of her journey of what she's done to overcome many obstacles in her life. And her name is Angelia. Hello, Angelia. How are you?
I am. How about you?
I'm doing great. I really thank you for being in the studio with me today. And I've read some amazing things about you. You are a superwoman, and I am glad to have you on our show. And what I'd like for you to do is just give our audience a little more information about you and who you are as we have this conversation today.
Sounds great. So basically my name is Angelia Dunbar, and I am from Conway, Arkansas originally. And so I tell people I'm just a little country girl who grew up with a family of entrepreneurs and also a strong, solid foundation in my faith and within my family. And from that foundation that was laid early on, it allowed me to really be able to come out and be able to expose everything I've gone through in life so that I can encourage others, motivate them, show them how to change their direction, show them how to no longer be a victim but a victor and be able to grasp the winning star within themselves to shine bright so people can see, regardless of your obstacles, of your trials and tribulations, you can overcome. I am an entrepreneur. I own my own real estate development company. I have a real estate firm where I hire agents to show houses, sell houses. I also have my own mortgage company, as well as I'm a female builder, African-American female builder. In the midst of all that, I'm a philanthropist. I give back, and then I wrote my book, Slaying with My Broken Pieces.
Amazing. That is a mouthful right there. My goodness, how did all of this, and I want to get to the book, but I understand about your faith and where you've come from and a family of entrepreneurs. What was your first start? As an entrepreneur, what did you start to do first?
I started first by being a servant, and when I say that, I started because my great-grandfather had 88 acres of land, and again, I'm from the country, and I grew up having to farm the land. I mean, before I even knew what recess was and vacation was in the summertime, and after school, it was no playtime, it was work time. So my great-grandfather had us out in the field, which is how he provided a living and education for his grandchildren, because I was the great, as well as for his children. He only had one daughter, my grandmother, and so he taught us how to basically take care of ourselves and how to work while it's day so that you can rest when it's night. And then he provided harvest, and he sold vegetables, and he raised cattle, and he sold it to the market. And that's how we lived. And only that, it was the work ethic that he gave us, and it was him showing us. And then my grandfather also had his own construction company. So I grew up around concrete, and my uncles had to build houses, help pour concrete, and, set foundations. And every person in my life was so instrumental as far as males in showing me that it's okay to be okay, and it's okay to be great and successful and be an entrepreneur and think outside the box.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it seems like that's what you've done, and that's a great start in with your family with 88 acres of land. I mean, and you actually worked the land as well?
Oh, yeah. me and my sister were the last two before there was any more. So all my aunts and uncles, again, worked with my grandfather. So the ladies actually had to tend to the field, and we had to plant the vegetables in the harvest. Then we had to pick it. And once my aunts went off to college, because my great-grandfather, again, paid their way, and that's how he paid for education so people didn't have the debt, was the farm, and he sent them because he said education was critical, was important. And so me and my sister were the last two youngest left, and we had to work it. We had to plant it. We had to pick it. I mean, sun up, sun down, we were out there. And we had to get up at like 5 o'clock in the morning, and we had to be done before that sun was beaming hot. And then we had to prepare to go to the market for sale.
Wow. Now, that really, really kind of molded you. It had to mold you to do what you do today, to be as involved as creating a firm and mortgage company today. That right there was the molding of you. Did you ever feel like, because I remember my great grandfather in Tennessee. He had acres of land and he had pigs and all kinds of stuff on it. But you know what, Angelia, I had no thought about being out there doing any of that. And I think that's happened to a lot of us who actually started with that great gift that your family had of all that acreage and being molded to work sun up, sun down, and not complain about it, but to do it. And, I grew up north, but my mom's great-granddad was south. So that was never a thought. Did you ever have a thought as a young girl that maybe you were like, you know what, I'm not getting dirty, I'm not getting into this? Did you, or even did you have a choice?
I didn't have a choice because, again, you're a child, and my family taught me the proper protocol, the order. And I tell people all the time, I know what it's like to have to be accountable and responsible. And I don't look for handouts. I look for hands up where people help me come up because they see me helping myself. But today, so many people look for something they feel they're entitled to. And because of what I had to go through as a youth and my work ethic, I wasn't entitled to anything but life. And that's because God gave it to us, but my family showed us you got to work for what you want. Nobody owes you anything. So we didn't have a choice. And I remember my great-grandfather waking us up one morning around 3 or 4 because he studied the almanac. And so his cow was getting ready to birth a calf, and it was breached. So he came and woke us up, and he had to use my jump rope. I was devastated. I'm like, but that's the only thing I use for exercise. I love that. It was fun. But I witnessed him birthing a calf from using my jump rope to pull it out to save the cow as well as the calf. But, I tell people, I've been around. I've had to help raise chickens. I've had to pull the chickens. I fed the calves. We've done it all. But I love it because it's who I am, and it shows me that when people say the struggle is real, the struggle wasn't real. The struggle was life. And it shows you don't have to struggle if you work. So we replace that struggle that people use often because I'm like to where I am today because I worked for it.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's and I can hear that in your passion and your voice about what you had to do, and that is, that's amazing. And I tell you, my hat's off to you because just when you were saying that, it kind of brought me back a little bit when my brother and cousin and we were down on the farm with our my parents and my great-granddad, and it was a pig, and we remember the pig name was Sammy, and we used to play with him, but we used to run after Sammy down on the farm, and we went there, I think it was like in November sometime, and so, of course, we the city kids, and we went back home, but and I tell the story, it's crazy because then when we went back to my great-granddad's farm, and we said, where was Sammy? Because Sammy wasn't running around. And you can imagine where Sammy was, right, Angelia?
He was gone. Yes.
Sammy was on our plate.
Yes, he was on the table somewhere.
He was on the table. They said, and my great-granddad thought it was the funniest thing. It was like, where's Sammy? He said, there he is. He's sitting on your plate right there. I got sick.
I know it.
I was done.
I know it. Yes.
And so
it was
I think that was a horrible way to introduce that to us, but my great-granddad was a kind of a jokester, and it actually made us sick. I was no good, and actually I never wanted to go back to the farm again because, as you can see, all these years later, Sammy is still in my mind, so I give hats off to you for being able to do that because it nurtured you and it gave you what you needed. You're absolutely correct in a time where people feel they are entitled to someone else's stuff or someone else's time or even someone else's money without putting in anything into that. Yeah, and then moving into that, what was the first company that you started, Angelia?
I independently first started my mortgage company at the time back in 2004. It was called Serenity Mortgage. And then from that time on, I went to become a real estate agent. And then from there, I went to become a builder. And then I relaunched a new mortgage company. After the market crashed, I came back with another mortgage company.
Wow.
And that's called Impact Mortgage. So I have Angelia Dunbar Realty, I have Impact Mortgage, and I have Desmond Homes. And because of my great-grandfather teaching me, what it is to leave a legacy for your kids and teaching them, because we still have the land. We never sold it and could have sold it plenty of times.
Really?
But when someone works so hard for something so long to take care of his family and to leave them that legacy, you don't sell out for money because that's something you can't get. And my family, primarily back in Arkansas, all lives on that land today pretty much except for one person. And so I created Desmond Homes for my son because he was my firstborn, and Desmond Homes is named after him, and that's to leave a legacy for him and for my daughter.
That's amazing. I don't know if it's too many in our community. I'm quite sure a lot of land had been left from many great-granddads in our families. And, I am it's amazing, and I'm really glad that you guys still have your land. I think that exactly what you were talking about, we had his siblings were up in Chicago and up north and New York, and they let the land go because nobody wanted to, as you say, till the land. Nobody wanted to work on it.
Nobody wanted to pay the taxes, yes.
Absolutely. They didn't want to pay the taxes and all the land, and we think about that sometimes today, that all the hard work that our ancestors put out there for us, and what do we have today, because my mom would say, land is money, because they don't foreclose on the house, they foreclose on the land, and that's what's most important to a lot of builders, as well as the land and the impact of what it brings. So, to still have it, I know you all have to be very proud of you, because everybody came in and made sure. Your great-granddad would be definitely proud, I'm quite sure, as well.
Yes, and my grandmother's still alive, and she was the only child, and so she'll be 83 this year. And when you look at it, to know that she's still living on the land, her putting her family on.
Wow. That is amazing, and that's one of your beautiful stories that you have, and I know you have many, and that's coming through some things because it wasn't all easy, but the mental mindset that you have, it sounds like that was the strength, the driving force of you continuing on to do what you're doing, and the strength of your family, too, to continue to push you, because you had said in your mind you didn't have a choice. You were told, you were taught, this is what you do, and you stuck with it.
Yes. And when I look at my great-grandfather, didn't have education, but look at how successful he was. He was well known. His name is still in papers. I mean, people couldn't even break some of the records that are there. And then I look at my grandfather. He didn't really have education. I look at the men in my family. They don't really have education. The women do, but the men don't. And so as far as me, I always lived fast and outside the box because I was always on that fast track of life, and that's because I knew I had it in me. And so college wasn't something I was in tune with. But I said because it wasn't, I had to find the strength within me to work harder, to excel, to lean back on my roots and back on the legacy that was left before me and say I can do it because my great-grandfather did it. So I know I can do it. The times are different. And I said no one can tell me who I am, who I can be, who I will be, or what I will have, won't have, because I'm going to work for it. And I'm going to show you that if you sleep on me, you really are losing out, because just because I don't have the paper don't mean I don't have what it takes to get you to the next level.
Absolutely.
And so I started my own business so I can help other people, because people just need to know there's hope. There's a chance for you to prosper. There's a chance for you to excel in life. Just believe in yourself first, because once you believe in yourself, people will see the belief in you and they will give you a chance.
Absolutely, because they're following that passion that you have, that fire that you have. And something else you said, and I like to kind of comment on that, because, now I think they're realizing that everybody is not college material. Everybody doesn't have to go to college to get a degree to be successful. And you have millionaires now who didn't do that. And it's proof that what you have in you is what you have in you. And being able to have that push from your families, your ancestors, and you said you knew you could do it because your granddad did it. And that's why it is so important to have history in your family. so that you know who's done what, because that might be the only thing or the one thing that could push you to the next level in life. Because if you never met your granddad, but you knew that your granddad was this powerful man and could do these powerful things, that ignites something in the other person. So I think just knowing, even if you didn't grow up with your ancestors, just finding out who they are and knowing who they are is amazing. Because it says, well, if he had it in him or she had it in her, then it's in me too.
Yes, and, I have a father who's just as strong and powerful, and I tell people when they say be a role model, my role model is at home, because everybody can look at someone in their family if they look far enough. Luckily and gratefully, I didn't have to go past my father, but even when I did, I still had my grandfather. Even after him, I had my great-grandfather. I had my uncle filling in the gaps. And so being a role model, someone I look up to, can show me the good and the bad, the right from the wrong, and also the positive side and the dark side, and still tell me to trust. Trusting God, still believe. And that's what we need more of, so that people realize it's work out here. You can't get to where you want to go without work. But if you work for it, you can have anything you put your mind to.
Absolutely. And it sounds as though you had many, many men, strong men, that were growing up, that were around you. That worked very hard, and you can see that. And it sounds as though they worked tirelessly, but they worked without complaining. They worked because they knew that this is what you had to do to get where you wanted to get to, and it wasn't an excuse for it. Not working.
Yes, that's correct. Yes, definitely.
Oh. Wow. Tell us something about the book that you've written. I find that to be pretty intriguing as well. Give us a little information about your book and why you wrote the book.
I wrote a book, and my title is called Slaying with My Broken Pieces. Again, Slaying with My Broken Pieces. And my book talks about me being an entrepreneur, a real estate mogul, overcoming obstacles, overcoming being kidnapped and attempted murder by my first husband. It talks about me beating the odds and beating cancer. It talks about being a single parent twice, a divorcee twice, but yet and still rising above every challenge that was given before me, because I defeated it. And again, I defeated it because I believed in me. No matter what I went through, I knew it was not greater than what was in me, which is the man above. And I tell people that when you look at everything you go through, you have to say, you know what, I can conquer this. And so I wrote that book, and I had written it because originally I was writing about cancer. In 2013, I went to a haunted house. I bumped into a wall on a Sunday, and on a Wednesday, I had diagnosis. I had stage 3 aggressive cancer out of the blue. And then that was in October 2013, and it's a miracle that I'm talking to you today, because as of today, this day, Good Friday 2014, I had surgery, and I've been healed for 3 years. I don't claim remission, I claim healing. And I wrote that book to tell people, take whatever you've gone through and use it to propel you to the next level. And I had to open up and expose myself so that I could share with another female, another male, but primarily females, that you can be beaten, you can be broken, but you're not defeated, because you can be put back together with your belief, God's hope, and you can rise above any occasion and take back your power. And me writing that book took back the power that I had left in someone else's hands for so long, because I was afraid to share my story. I tried to cover it up, but covering up wasn't healing someone else. It wasn't saving someone else, because no one knew. So many people did not know I even went through what I went through. My family couldn't even save me because they didn't even know all the details of what I was going through when I was being beaten and I was being abducted and I was kidnapped. They found out after the fact, and when I wrote the book, they found out more details. And it was just time to come out and say, you know what, use me, Lord. Let me expose myself so that I can reach another young female and tell her just like I said to myself, because no one told me, you don't have to prostitute. You don't have to sell drugs. You don't have to sleep with men to make it. Work for it. Just get a pass. Stay focused. Get a mentor, because I had so many things positioned to me as a single parent. I was working 3 jobs to take care of my 2-year-old son, all because his father told me he didn't want to help. And one day I asked him, I said, hey, I'm finally off after all this time from working 3 jobs to raise my son. Can you give me $20 so I can take him to Chuck E. Cheese, because I'm off. I want to do something outside of just going to the park around in the corner in the neighborhood. He told me no. He said, all I have is $20. That's for a dime sack bag of weed and for a 6-pack of beer. And I said, you never have to worry about me asking for anything again, because I was determined not to let my son grow up on welfare, not to let him sell drugs, but to show him you can work for it, son, and we're going to make it because we know together we can make it. And since that time, and I always told my son he was born to be a king because God saved him. When my son turned 2, I ran over him with a car, and people don't even know that. You know, so much stuff they don't know. And I said, It's time to share my story because he was saved from 2 years old, and he's gone to create his own business called Young Dynasty Inc. He's doing great things, and when I tell people I had to write the book to show you can seize it, and it's time to slay with the broken pieces because I've been put back together again, and I want to put someone else back together again. And I want to tell them you are a victim. You were a victim, but now you're a victor, and that nothing can happen to you that you cannot overcome because, again, the day somebody believed in you, they didn't believe in someone else, which means they saw something in you. Go back to when you believed in yourself. Go back to when you really thought you could do everything. Find that inner peace, find that inner strength, and propel to that next level. And I'm here to help them.
Absolutely. And see, that's amazing because your passion is there. And I say that a lot to ladies primarily, too. You got to believe in yourself. And there's so many men and women, but primarily ladies, Angelia, that just don't believe in themselves. They've had relationships after relationships, and I just I told some ladies the other day, I was like, a man is not the solution. Not taking anything away from a husband or a boyfriend or things of that nature, but a man is not a solution. A woman is not a solution. It's what God has given you within you. That's the solution. And that's what pushes you to the next level of greatness in your life. And I don't think, Angelia, that most of the time we don't think great. You know, we think easy. We think get by. We think so. We think, it could be worse, kind of attitude, but they don't think great, that you could be great. You stand in greatness. You are in greatness. And the way you speak and the way you articulate your belief is a belief of greatness, that you can look anything, whether it's an illness, whether it's a problem or what have you, in the face and say, no, not me, not today, and not no other day. And that's that magnificent self-talk, I think, that God has given all of us, that we have within us to push us through. And I'm quite sure your book has just been a blessing to a lot of people.
It has, and it has as far as the people that have communicated that back to me, and I hope more people share it. And I tell people one of the things, the first scripture I taught my kids before they learned anything else is the scripture, Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ. He didn't say some things. He didn't say a couple of things. His word said I can do all things. So no matter what you've gone through, you can do all things. And, great is our faithfulness, and great is he that's in you than he is in the world. And I tell people, hold on to it, because like you're saying, greatness. And you can't let nobody define you. Know your worth. Know who you are. Know what you want to be and go after it. Because the only limitations people can put on you that can stop you is the ones you believe in. And if you believe that you're greater than that limitation and obstacle, you can do whatever you want to do.
And it pushes you. It's something, and I'm thinking about something that you said, Angelia, when you asked your son's father, and he says, you said to him, you won't have to worry about me asking you again. That right there, to me, and I've said that several times in my life, because I'm that kind of person that's like, I don't like to ask anyway. But I tell you, if I ask and you say no when I really need it, then you'll never have to ask again. It's almost kind of like that acceleration, that gas that's put inside of you that make you step on that pedal, and you say, you know what, that's okay, but I'm going to show you. Watch my smoke. Here I go. And
I did it.
Absolutely. It pushes you to get it, because at that point I am going to prove you wrong. I'm going to make a statement, because God has said that I can do these things. And you're absolutely right. It says all things you can do. It didn't stipulate what you can do. It's all things. That's whether you have a terrible relationship, or whether you don't have a relationship, or you've been married twice, or you've been married 4 times. At the end of the day, you still have just what you're talking about inside of you to push you to greatness, to push you to be better. Every mistake that we make, we make them. We make bad choices in life. But I think that when you make the bad choices and you realize you've made those choices, that should be that push button so you can go higher. You might make another bad choice, but you don't want to make the same bad choice. And that's a part of life that, God says, I come, you may have life and have it more abundantly.
More abundantly.
Well, we're not living abundantly because I think we're scared sometimes, fearful sometimes, and also something else you said, I think that we are listening to others and not listening from within. What do you think about that, Angelia?
I think really and truly, if you're around people who are not telling you you're great, like we've been talking about in this conversation, greatness is in you. If you're around people who are not telling you you're great, are not motivating you and encouraging you to do something different, to grow, you need to change the circle. And you hear it all the time. You got to change the circle because they tell you whoever you're around and spend the most time with is who you become. And so people have to stop because everyone is not going to believe in your dream. They're not going to believe in your vision, but that's not God. He's the only one that told you. Sometimes you can't share it with everybody. But if you do share it and they don't believe in it, don't stop what God told you because they can't change it. And the only thing that's going to happen is they're going to deter you because you're putting your faith in man, not in him. But if you just stay focused on what you know you can do and quit listening to the wrong people and motivate yourself, because you got to motivate yourself. When nobody else is in that mirror, I look in that mirror, and after going through cancer and losing my hair and not knowing what to do, and I tell people when they ask me, well, what's the hardest thing you've gone through? Because you've gone through a lot and you survived. And I said, if I had to pick one, because I don't want to pick one, but if I had to pick one to answer a question, it would be cancer. And the reason I say that is because, okay, I knew the person I was married to, so I knew domestic violence. I knew who done it to me. I saw it coming. I tried to escape before it happened, but then it almost cost me my life, but I got out. I knew I was going through a divorce because I knew who I was married to. I was a single parent twice because I knew I had a child. But cancer, you don't know what it is and when it's coming and where it came from. You just get it. But at the same time, it did not limit me. It did not define me. It made me rethink. It made me fall short for a moment, but I didn't stay in that moment because I knew that I could be healed if God so choose to. And if he didn't, he was still God. But I tell people I had to stay around positive people. I look in that camera when I'm talking to people or taking pictures. I look in that mirror and I tell myself, I am the head, not the tail. I am beautiful. I am wonderfully made. I am God's child. I'm a queen. I am worth something. If I'm not worth nothing to anyone else, I'm worth something to me and to him because he doesn't make mess. And he says I'm royalty and priesthood. So I tell people, someone who believes in something you're believing in, which is greater than what you're already in, because you can't grow if you think you already got the best out of life. You only grow when you're seeking something greater. And so change your circles, change what you listen to, change what you read, change who you're around so you can become the best you that you're supposed to be.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's what you're saying is so true, Angelia. Tell me, what do you think about today? We have a lot of women that are single women, and there are a lot of women also that are in relationships because of somebody else. And just like you said, you knew about that, and you knew what kind of husband you had. But we have women, and I work with them a lot, who stay in relationships because they feel that that's what God wants them to do, and the relationships are not beneficial to them. And I have some ladies that are listening also to our broadcast out of the studio, and those are some of the problems that a few are running into because I say a lot of times women, because of our thought, we feel that we are obligated to everyone but ourselves, which allows those other persons to feel entitled to us. And therefore you lose dreams, you lose hopes, you lose all those magnificent things that you should be getting in your life because you feel that, I should do this and I should say this, and well, maybe it'll get better over here. But you haven't gone full circle. You don't know what it means for your dreams to be unfolded in front of you so that you can push through and be a better woman for yourself. What do you say about those ladies? What can you say about those ladies who are just thinking that their time is just done, especially women that are 40 plus?
Great to ask, and that's a valid question because there's a valid answer, and the answer is this. Single people, don't stay in a situation too long because we're ignoring so many warning signs, and I talk about that in my book. And a lot of times we're afraid to leave that situation because of what other people are going to think about us. And if you have children with someone and you're not married and they're the child's father, but they're not doing anything to benefit you and that child, why stay there? Because you're afraid someone's going to say, oh, she got another baby by this person? No, because one thing about it, I tell people I have 2 kids, 2 separate fathers, but I was with my daughter's father, married to her dad. But the thing is, I never talked about my kids' fathers because I made that choice. So I knew the person I picked out. So first we got to stop saying what they are and what they're not, because they may not be, but don't batter someone because of that, because you made a valid choice to talk to that person. But change what you're wanting now out of life. Don't stay in that situation. And for married people, my thing was once I got released from God, because physical and abuse is not just physical. Abuse is mental. It can kill you. Abuse is being told over how ugly you are, how fat you are, how skinny you are. You know, you don't do enough in the household. You don't do this. You don't do that because they're looking at something else. Or they can neglect you in so many other areas that they can break you down so much that you don't even know that you exist. And you walk around like a zombie like, man, I'm just nothing. I'm just nobody. Because people tell you that if you're in that situation, get out. Ask God to remove you from that situation, because if you're unequally yoked, it's okay to get out. And sometimes we stay in situations because we said I do, but God never said he did. So he said, okay, you keep asking, I'm going to give it to you, but you're unequally yoked. He's going to free you from that. He's going to forgive you. Even if you get out for the wrong reason, but you thought it was the right reason, ask God for forgiveness, because he's a forgiving God. But do not stay somewhere so long that you forget who you are. You have to know your identity. You have to know your worth. And you have to know that I'm going to be okay regardless of what the people say. They're going to talk about us anyway. But at the same time, I'm not willing to lose my life in a situation when I still have a voice now, the strength to remove myself from it. And I may struggle, because I struggled in doing so. But the thing is, I got out. And I got out with peace that I had to refine, because I had to find my peace again. I had to find my joy again. But at the same time, I never lost my mind. And as long as you got your mind, you can condition yourself to grow different patterns, to regain that strength from within, take back your power again, and become you, because you are so important. We need you. I need you, and I don't know you, but I know that I need you, because there's something about you that's going to make a difference in my life if I ever run across you. Even if it's just your smile. It may be the day I need someone to just say hello, because people don't do it anymore. So regain your sense of purpose, find your identity, and know it's okay. Keep your head held up. There's nothing on the ground to where you can't even say who you are, because you just lost everything about you. You're greater than that. You're better than that, and we need you out here.
Absolutely. Amazing. That's so true. You just hit all the nails on the cylinder. That's just something that I truly believe in. I say it a lot to the ladies I work with, that you are, some think that is you only leave for a specific reason, but nothing is more greater than your peace. Nothing is more greater than your faith and your belief, because I believe that when you think you're staying for the right reason, and it messes with your faith. It messes with your belief, because you're asking God to change somebody in your life for you. But what God is waiting on for you to change your thought process and realize it. And I say to ladies, God never puts you in a position of hurt. He never puts you in a position, he knows that you're a flower. And why would he put you in a position where a man beats on you, where a man curses you out and call you names and disrespects you and treats you like dirt? And then because you're married to him, you figure that you are doing the will of God. You are not doing God's will.
No.
God's will starts from within you. You are God's will. And and what you said is just kind of ring bells, and I hope I have a few ladies that are out there listening that I specifically told them to listen to you today in the studio, and to realize that they are worth something. They are worth more than something. They are worth, it says, our worth is far above rubies. And what happened to that? You kind of wonder, where are we thinking about? And I'm loving what you're doing, Angelia, because I think women should always be able to handle their own business, always be able to have something for themselves, even before getting into a relationship, or even if you're in one, that does not stop you from doing those things that you've done in creating your life and your legacy. Right,
because the right person is going to want you to be better than where you are. They're going to help you go to the next level. You're going to grow together, but when you stop growing together, one person is left behind, and normally it's the unbeliever. So you have to make sure you know who you are at all times. I tell people, don't take being hit on or the threats of being hit on and the abuse as something simple. Oh, they're going to get over it. Oh, they're just playing. That stuff is real. Do not ignore those warning signs, because people, when the time comes, is going to catch you so fast, and you may not be lucky and blessed to get out like I was, but pay attention and realize it's okay to get out. You have to get out.
Absolutely. And it starts with a lot of times we see the flag. We know the flag is there. It's been dropped on the ground. We see it. We just kind of pick it up and fold it up, and we pay no attention to that. But that starts out in the beginning of relationships. We pay no attention to it. And then also, even in the relationship, you deal with that as well. And the verbal abuse is not supposed to be. So it even starts with that. So those are some things that you have to really, really pay attention in your life as you go through life. You have to don't allow a relationship to swallow your gifts. You know, God has given us many gifts, and they're here for you to be the best that you can be. So, Angelia, let me ask you about, you're also executive director at Out of the Gate Entertainment.
Yes. And that business,
and
Out the Gate Entertainment, it's where we manage artists, people that perform R&B gospel. We manage artists. We manage authors like myself. We work with speakers, and we work with people who are doing anything that needs a management team and someone to help them market their business as well. And so we just basically try to make sure we line up with the right people, because we have been with the wrong people. But Out the Gate goes back to our very first conversation, and Gate stands for my great-grandfather's last name, Gatewood. And people always say, if I can just get out the gate, I'm going to be okay. But Out the Gate is the legacy that I'm leaving for my overall family, my cousins, to show us that we're going to build an empire, and it's going to always have our great-grandfather's name in it, because Gatewood was his name. And we're going to get out the gate as a family, and we're going to create a business that we all can work in different assets in different states until we get to where we need to be and leave that for our children's children.
Wow, that is amazing. And you have so many areas of expertise that you are helping people in your mortgage and the building and the entertainment and the brokerage. All of these things that you are doing are helping other people.
Yes. And also have a security company called Asset Management Company, and it's Asset Data Bank, and that's where we teach companies how to protect their brand and their identity in the event of identity theft, in the event of cyber crime. There's so much going on, and your companies are being hacked. So I have a company that's centered around that. And then I'm a philanthropist. I have Life Changing Community Development Corporation, because I give back. And I grew up with my family giving back, and I give back because God has saved me from so much that I have to give back because someone else is less fortunate. And I tell people sometimes people look at giving back for the wrong reason. I don't look at that person as being homeless. I look at that person as being, it could have been me, because there was times I didn't have food. There was times my lights were turned off. There was times I didn't know how I was going to survive, but I made it. So I give back now with dignity and pride, and give them back their dignity and pride, and I share with them. And whatever the need is, and cancer-related, domestic violence related, just homeless, I give back hope. I give back a sense of ownership and a sense of direction, so that person can feel worthy and not be begging, not having to ask for it. And it's no matter what the cause is, I want someone to feel powered again and empower them to say, this is temporary. It's a transitional phase, but I'm going to overcome it.
Wow. I have a question that just came through on the chat, Angelia, and she asked, do you ever get tired?
I get tired, but I can't quit. And the reason I can't quit is because I got too much work to do. And when I tell people, when God saved me from cancer, because he saved me from everything else, it didn't bother me as bad as cancer, because, cancer is just that scary thing. But when he saved me, I said, he saved me for work. I have work to do for a cause. And when I get tired, I take a quick sabbatical, and I'm back running, because I know one day I will be able to sit back, rest, and know other people are carrying the torch. And that's what I'm trying to do, let other people carry the torch. Right now, I got to help save souls.
Wow. Have another lady you're asking, Angelia. You've done all these things. You've created all these businesses, and God has truly blessed you from an illness, and you've come back from that as well. Yeah, she is asking, do you ever want to get married again?
I do, because I really believe two is better than one, and I love being married. And I tell people with my last relationship, I kind of rushed out of that because we separated, and I probably should have waited. But at the same time, I'm the kind of person, if we're going to separate, you're going to date me, you're going to be there for me, you're going to rebuild the weak spots, because ultimately the Bible says it's still a man's responsibility to get it back in order, and he's the head. And so if I'm submitting to you, submit to someone. And I love marriage, and he's my best friend. I don't have any hatred for anyone that I've ever been with. no matter what they done to me. But I want to be married again because I miss it. I miss the companionship. But I'm not going to rush out there and get the wrong person. I want who God has for me when he has him for me, and I will be open to receive him, and I won't refer him to my past because that's my past, and I'm only looking at my future.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So if
that's
he's
amazing.
listening, you may need to get my number. Look, so if he's listening, call me.
I'm telling you, because there's a dynamite woman here. I tell you, give her a call. They're probably standing in line for you, Angelia, because you are the cream of the crop for them. But this is who we are as women. This is what the virtuous women do. You are you're multifaceted, and you are able to do things. And I think what happens with women where we mess up is that we allow others, what others think, whoever it may be, even if it's a man in our lives, to make us think that our only good in life is to become a mother, a wife, and that's it. To do dishes and clean house and cook food. But there is something more within you past that. Those are just the small things that we do. And becoming a mom is an amazing thing and is a great feat. But even after that, there are some tremendous things that are left for us to do to go full circle in our lives. And you're working on that. And I believe it's a lot of us out here who haven't gone full circle. If you just figure your life is done, there's nothing else to do, there is something for you to do, for sure. So, Angelia, you have just been amazing, giving us all this great encouragement and excitement, and just feeling your energy here is warm, and it is kind of like on fire. What I like for you to do, if you don't mind, if you can give our Source Nation family information about you and how they can reach you for whatever reason they need to, and how they can get your book.
My book is online. The website is My Story, Our Journey, and that's My Story, MYSTORY, Our, OUR, Journey, JOURNEY.com. And that's where you can buy my book. You can also request me to come speak at your events, motivate you, mentor you, whatever it is. And then if you want to know about me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, it's Angelia Scott-Dunbar. And Angelia is spelled ANGELIA, Scott-Dunbar. And my phone number, if you need someone to talk to, sometimes you're going through and just say, you know what, I'm about to give up, talk to me. My number is 214-476-3091. And if you want to donate or know someone in need and you want to nominate someone that's in need to our nonprofit, my nonprofit is Life Changing CDC, CharlieDavidCharlie.org. I love to help and also love to receive assistance so we can help other people.
Amazing. That's a lot of good stuff. And Angelia, I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day to sit with us today to give some inspiration to our Source Nation family and even to me. It's been amazing. I have enjoyed it immensely. And I wish you all Godspeed and the best of everything in what you're doing. And I hope to have you back here, in the near future to talk about some more exciting, encouraging things and what's the next episode in Angelia's life that you're doing to help people across the country.
Yes, I will love to. Thank you so much for having me. And I leave you and the listeners with this. Tell yourself daily, I can, I will, I must. I can be successful. I will be successful. I must be successful. And success is not money. Money comes when you do what you're supposed to do because you have to. But being successful is I will find my peace. I must find my peace. I must take back my power. And just always tell yourself, I can, I will, I must. And I thank you for having me on your show, and I love each and every one of you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Angelia. Blessings to you. Thank you again.
Thank you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye. All right, Source Nation family, what an amazing lady. My goodness, is she full of fire? Yes, she is. Does she sound like a woman who is feeling sorry for herself? No, she is not. Does she feel like she just hasn't done anything? Her life is just ho-hum-dro because she went through some tough times? No, she's talking about it. She's looking in the face. She's saying, no, that's not going to happen. You're not going to take my life. You're not going to take my joy. You're not going to take my freedom. You're not going to take my money. You're not going to do that. How many of you are pushing through? How many of you are fighting to get to the best of you? Do you even know the best of you? Do you even know how much you're worth? Do you even know? gone full circle? Have you stopped? Have you stopped at the maternity ward? Come on, ladies. We can have children. We can have relationships. We can have husbands. We can cook and we can clean, but that is not the crux of our life. There is more to us than just that. If that's all you're doing, then you are wasting your life. You're wasting your time. And it's great to be a mom, but you know what's going to happen? The kids are going to grow up. They're going to get their own friends. They're going to get their own husband, their own wife, and they're going to go their separate ways, and they won't have time. And then you'll be calling them saying, well, why don't you call Mom sometimes? And how come you don't come over? Because they're living their life. That's why. So what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing for you? When are you going to realize that you have a life to live full circle? You haven't gone. I know you haven't gone full circle. I haven't gone full circle. I'm still working at it myself. That's what you have to do. You have to continue pushing and pushing and pushing till you get there. If you have to holler for help, holler for help. There's somebody on the journey with you that can help you. Keep yourself around positive people. Keep yourself pushing for greatness in you. There is greatness in you. A lot of times we think that greatness is too hard to get. Well, you know what? Doing nothing is hard too. It's just as hard to do nothing as it is to get up and do something. Beautiful ladies out here, you are beautiful. You're amazing. You're magnificent. I don't care how old you are. I don't care how young you are. I don't care what your status is. I don't care what your culture or your class is. I don't care what your color is. You are a woman and you are amazing. And we're not doing enough amazing things. What is it that you want to do? Push yourself. Do something. Make it happen for you. Because it can. It can happen for all of us. This is Myra McKnight, your Master Relationship Coach on Can We Talk. I want to thank you, ladies, for allowing me and letting me come into your space for this hour. I hope there's something that we said during this time of our time together that is an inspiration to you and a joy to you as well, and blessings to you and your family. Thank you again. Also, let me give you my information. Myra McKnight. You can reach me at Better One, Better Two Relationship Academy. I am the president and CEO of Better One, Better Two Relationship Academy, and you can reach me at www.premaritalcounselingatlanta.com. Look forward to sitting with you again. Thank you. Blessings to you.